You are listening to the community here on 660 AM, The Answer, the Word, 100.7 FM. My name is Gordon Griffin, and in this segment we're going to talk about sleepovers. Oh, yes, I guess there's much to be concerned about in this world, this age that we're in right now. Should we be concerned, or are we just merely being too careful? I mean, it seems like sleepovers are a rite of passage for kids, but there are worries today, things like social media exposure, whether or not there are alcohol or drugs in the house, or enough parental supervision. So these are certainly valid concerns as we talk with Dr. Tan Saley. She is our guest here in the community. She is a co-founder of Motivational Parent and a co-author of The Listening Space, a guide to strengthening parent-child relationships with motivational parenting. So let's welcome Dr. Tan to the community. Hi there. I really appreciate you joining us here on such short notice. Thank you once again for being on the program today.
Oh, I'm happy to be on, Gordon.
You know, I have a daughter who's 9 years old, and my oldest is 26, so we're not talking about her, obviously, but you know, the topic of sleepovers comes up every so often. You know, my daughter will say, "Dad, can I have a sleepover, or can I go to someone's house?" Yada, yada, yada. And, you know, there's just a small little in my stomach or in my gut. I'm like, oh, do I want to do that yet? I mean, at what's appropriate, what age? You know, those kind of things. And so I think about that. Is that a normal thing? I mean, is it okay to kind of feel, I don't know, concern's not even the word, I guess, but just like first of all, your little girl's growing up, but then also we do live in a crazy world today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely normal to have these worries and anxieties as parents. You know, there's lots of things in the world that we try to protect our kids from and make sure that they're safe. And I think the topic of sleepover is one of them, because there's a lot of things in the other household that we can't prevent and that we can't, I guess, protect against if we're not there physically with them. And so I think these anxieties are very, very normal for parents.
I think that's a good way of putting it, anxiety, because, I mean, I know many of her friends, and I feel great about her friends. But it's the aspect of you're talking about 24 to 48 hours, and that could be this kind of thing comes up, too, when you're talking about summer camps and things like that, when you're talking several days. And it seems to be a normal kind of thing that you just kind of I guess I wonder if maybe exerting too much control over that, or maybe agonizing over it too much, can do more harm than good down the road. What do you say?
Yeah, and my clinical experience working with families, kids, and parents, a lot of times the parents, whether you're a single parent or you have your partner with you, we become overly obsessed or overthinking about these questions. You know, are there going to be, is it a co-ed situation? Mm-hmm. You know, does this family have guns in the home, or do they have alcohol? And we start thinking about all these kind of worries, and we forget to involve the children in the conversation. We forget to explore with them. Tell me a little bit more about your friend's parents, right? Do you feel safe over there when you're with them, or, you know, and so we are not collecting data when we don't include them in the conversation.
Dr. Tan Saley, our guest here in the community for the next few moments in this segment, and should we be concerned about sleepovers, or are we being too careful? Parenting expert Dr. Tan Saley here on the community. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute, doctor, and that is, now I've not had this yet. We've not had this yet in our house, where we get well, why are you saying that? Why can I not go on a sleepover? You know, on and on. So what can a parent do if they are encountering that situation right now, where a child says, well, I can't believe I can't believe you're making that decision. I hate you, or I don't understand this, and they slam the door, so on and so forth. What do you say?
In that situation, our child's giving us a message of, you're not listening to me. I'm not being heard by you. So why am I going to bother to talk to you, Mom and Dad, if my side of things is not being heard? And usually we teach parents to really use, 5 skills of motivational parenting, which is to explore with empathy. Well, tell me more. Why do you want to go there? Why do you want to go to a sleepover? And really pause to fix it, which is like, the knee-jerk reaction to say you're grounded or I'll show you, and really imposing our authority over them. And so these are ways to really dissolve that fighting and really prevent it from even happening.
Dr. Tan, I think the flip side of this is maybe, is there such a thing as, what about being too lenient?
Yeah, I think there's a fine balance here, right? With kind of the partnership parenting that we're explaining and the skills we're teaching with motivational parenting is to be in the middle, where you're not being too rigid or controlling, where you get kids resisting you and digging their heels in deeper and, fighting with you. And you're not being so permissive that they're not having the guidance or the support they need to make good decisions. We're right in the middle, where our parent responsiveness and consistency with clear guidance and expectation is there. So you get a sweet spot of engaging with your child without risking their autonomy or independence.
The website is Motivational Parents. That is motivationalparent.org. And Dr. Tan is our guest here on the community for the next few moments. So I'm sure that there are a matter of ways and resources and input that parents can get, in fact, from their children about situations like this. Why is it so important to do so?
Well, it is because, some parents might risk the relationship by trying to use force and getting compliance. So you're getting the outcome, but you're breaking that relationship with your children. So they grow up and they resent you. They grow up and they don't talk to you. They don't share about their lives. But when you're engaging with them and your partner, you're more collaborative, you listen in, they really lean into you and they trust that you will make fair decisions with their opinions in mind. And so in this way, kids come back, kids share with you about their lives. Kids see that they can trust you to be seen and to be considered, right? So you're not shutting them down. And so this way, we found is the most kind of best way to stop the fighting with the kids and get things done in the house.
And I'm sure somebody's asking this question right now as they hear this, and that is, what kinds of conversations or what conversations should we be having with our children to build trust and to build confidence in each other?
It's really exploring with empathy without judging, right? So suspending that assumption, jumping to conclusions, and exploring with the open-ended question. Tell me more about your friends. Tell me more about your friend's family. Tell me more about the sleepover. And then once you get that information, it's really important to affirm their values. So it sounds like, Gabby, it's really important for you to spend time with your friends outside of the school. And Gabby might say, yeah, because, we're going to have fun just watching movies and eating snacks all night. We're going to be safe, right? And then really reflecting to them, you're not saying yes, you're not saying no, but just taking the time to explore their point of view and their perspective and allow them to really be seen and heard and validate their feelings, even though that at the end, the answer can be no, right? But you're still allowing them that space to be heard.
Parenting experts Jason Wilcox and psychologist Tan Saley, founders of the Motivational Parent and co-authors of The Listening Space, a guide to strengthening parent-child relationships, and motivational parenting. And I just have a funny feeling, Dr. Tan, that a lot of the things we've been talking about here and many other things that would be along these same lines can be found in these materials, right?
Yes, absolutely. If anyone is interested in learning more or being trained in the techniques and the skills, our materials are free on our website at motivationalparent.org.
There's one more thing I really want to get into in the time that we have left, and I mentioned this here at the top of the segment, and it's the role that that social media plays in the lives of our children. I mean, if you ask any child, if you were to sample, a room of 20, preteens or 20 children, they'll tell you that they have some involvement online. They're online, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it, the sites, they're there, or they have been there, or they know of someone who is there. So what kind of a role do you feel like this all plays in this too?
I think with social media and any kind of peer group situation, our children are just seeking out community, seeking out a sense of belonging. And so it's important to have these discussions. And some of these discussions are just difficult discussions when you find out that there's inappropriate things they're getting into. But when you are exploring with them and they're saying, hey, I'm using Discord, I'm using TikTok because, there's a community of influencer or followers that I identify with. It's important to help them find some of that community and belonging and interest outside of social media, finding a club nearby, finding other activities that they can involve themselves in so they feel that community and connection to their peers.
Dr. Tan Saley, our guest here on the community, motivationalparent.org is the website. And if you are on Facebook, there's a site there, a big site. You can go to facebook.com/motivationalparent and find out more about what we've been talking about and some other topics as well along these same lines. But again, I know that we're in our house, we're probably about to start facing some of these questions about sleepovers. I mean, we're probably within a year or two, a year anyway, of this coming up. In fact, I think just the other week, she asked about, can I spend the night with somebody, in the spring. So we know it's coming. She's 9 and she'll be 10 later this year. So thanks for helping me out with all that. And, of course, thanks for speaking to our audience today as well, Dr. Tan. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gordon.
Thank you. Take care.